we have another UFC Fight Night coming up this weekend, and it just so happens to feature a guy in Ricky Simone who might just be my favorite fighter on the roster. To that end, let us get to the main event challenge.
It's the main event challenge. Anik.
The time is most definitely now.
Florian.
I finish fights. I'm going to do everything possible to win.
The main event challenge. The John Anik and Kenny Florian podcast.
And for that very initiative, we call on Big Gun Billy Petrie. What's up, Billy
Hey,
Kid?
hey, what's up, boys?
I love the Reds jersey. Is that just a generic, or is there a player on the back?
Oh, come on, bro. This is Sabo, baby. Chris Sabo with the goggles. 90s hero, bub, of course. Yeah, no generic here,
I
bub.
mean, that's amazing. Chris Sabo's amazing. I mean, that's better than Barry Larkin or anybody else that popped into my head.
Sabo's the best, the king.
At Brian Petrie MMA is the handle on social. I can't start calling you Billy Petrie until you're fully embedded in this space. So, once you get the 6-figure contract from one of these outfits, then we can start dicking around with the Billy Petrie.
Absolutely.
My wife getting on me this weekend for using the word too much.
Huh. Okay.
She says that I need to start calling it penis. I don't know what's worse.
I think wiener's the
penis
worst.
Is worse.
Yeah, don't say wiener or penis. Just say dick. Yeah.
I was said to my son, dude, can you please stop touching your dick, bro? Please. All right, let's update.
That's a lifelong struggle, John.
I'm telling you.
That's true.
Yeah.
It could be a while.
So, Bri, before I update the standings here, I believe it was a pretty lucrative weekend for you in the sportsbook overall. So, did you care to share for us some of your highlights?
Yeah, I hit Brady Highstand at plus 370 live. That third round stoppage was crazy, but I got him live, a nice little shekel there. I hit Sergei Pavlovich knockout. I should have done round 1, but I didn't. I hit my parlay as well. My big parlay gave out was plus 260. Lucindo. We got Bruno Silva in there, Montel Jackson, who I'm hugely high on. Plus 260 number. Yeah. So that was a nice little hit there. And then Sellensberger was the only blemish, but we're up about 4.32 units on the weekend. Hit Gervonta Davis by knockout as well, because I figured that was going to happen as well. Watch the boxing match. Ken-Flo.
Brian, I wanted to ask you, because I think we were on the same page with this when we were talking on our chat, but you had a problem with the Semmelsberger decision as well. Am I right? Because I kind of did as well, man. I didn't go back and watch it a second time, but I thought I wouldn't say he got screwed, but I thought he was going to get the nod.
So I got chirped a little bit on Twitter because everyone's like, oh, you're just mad you lost your bet. Yes, that is right. But I rewatched it and I took everything aside. The money's gone. Who cares, right? I don't know how you're a judge, right? And I'm not even saying he won the fight. My biggest beef is I don't know how you're a judge and you give all 2 of the 3 judges gave Jeremiah Wells round 1. Jeremiah Wells, who's a dog, by the way, was knocked unconscious in round 1 and woke up.
Right.
And then he got on top and did some work. That's fine. Salisbury should be a little more anxious, but he was out like multiple times in that round.
Yeah, if we're talking about damage and effectiveness
what
of striking.
What else more damage do you want, right?
Right.
Crazy to me that 2 of the 3 gave him that first round. He rebounded well. The second round, he got flatlined a little in the second round too. I still think he was recovering from the first round. Third round, he looked great, right? 29-28 is how I had it. I was just very upset that 2 judges had a 30-27 when damage is what we're scoring. And admittedly, I'm not the best judge. Obviously, I am a capper. I'm a gambler, so I do get emotional with some things, but I still don't know how you give that first round to Jeremiah Wells.
Yeah. All right, I am looking at these scorecards right now. Eric Colon, Junichiro Camijo, and Rick Winter. And it looked as though Rick Winter gave Semmelsberger round 1. The other 2 did not. So I did not get a chance to watch that fight. Regrettably, I was way over the weekend. Dude, Montel Jackson, though, what a frame for 35. Yeah. What a beast. There have been some weird circumstances at time in his UFC career, but now you start to look at the wins list, some of the guys that he's beaten. Yeah. Hard to get a number next to your name at 35, but tell us why you're so high on Montel the Kid Jackson.
He's, the fight IQ is coming along. There was the fight with JP Bays where he hurt JP Bays about 6 times in that fight. And I'm like, you got to finish. You got to finish this guy. You're that good. He's monstrous, right? For the division. He's got bigger hands than Francis Ngannou, rumoredly, right? He's got huge mitts. And yeah, right. So he goes out there against Yaya, who wants to get in these weird scrambles on the ground, trick you to getting on top. He's that good. He's really hard to finish, really. Yaya. He sticks around. He's obviously not the most skilled guy in the feet, but Montel closed the show, did what he was supposed to do, fought smart, fight IQ's coming up, want to see him be active a little bit more. He's been in there with some really good guys. He's been around for a little bit, too. He's got a nice little name, and now it's starting to build here. Let's start building. I think he's super talented.
All right, and before we transition to UFC Fight Night, Song versus Simone, just give me 30 seconds on the Russian Sergei Pavlovich, bro, because we have these private chats, right? And at least you're there with me speaking in superlatives and making all of these great leaps that probably won't come to fruition. But, dude, how do you handicap his chances as you spin it forward now for him against Jones, Stipe, or anybody else?
So Stipe, I think he wins. I think Stipe is a little bit long in the tooth, and I don't think Stipe is going to have the wrestling chops to get him down. Even though he is a good wrestler, Stipe is going to want to box them. Who's boxing with this guy? No one is. I mean, look at the reach. He took 2 clean right hands from Curtis Blades. Clean right hands, ate him like nothing, and marched forward. The one takedown attempt Blades did have was after he was hurt, but his hips looked good. They were in the right position. Sergey Pavlovich looked like he was ready for that. And this is my favorite performance of his, favorite knockout, because he's going against a guy who can rally, who's been in there with the top, but he stayed composed, stayed patient. Every time he hit Blades, when Blades was kind of freaking out, kind of moving his head, going everywhere, the shot selection, was perfect. This guy's a problem, and he's young too. I mean, God, good luck. Scary dude for the heavyweight division. Scary dude. Yeah. Good luck, heavyweights. Good fucking luck, man.
And seems to have some personality as well that transcends the language barrier a little bit. So we'll see how it goes for Sergei Pavlovich, but congratulations to the big man on steel in the weekend. All right, let us update the standings before we make our selections this week. So Petrie minus 28.55 going in. Ken-Flo was minus 570. Petrie goes 1-2 for a minus 135. Ken-Flo goes 2-1. Big hit on Pavlovich plus 145. Plus 180 on the week for Ken-Flo. Shaves his nut to minus 390. Petrie minus 29.90. And maybe a 5-unit jobber for Brian Petrie coming down the pike this week. Maybe not. You'll just have to listen to the main event challenge to that end. First fight for us at bantamweight. And this is an early prelim, but just wanted to give this fight a little shine because I'm curious to see which side you guys fall on. 15-time UFC veteran Brian Kelleher, minus 180. Journey Newson, plus 155. So Petrie, Kelleher has never won more than 2 straight in the UFC. He's never lost more than 2 in a row in the big show. He went 1-2 last year. The last 2 losses, though, both by first-round rear naked choke. Your thoughts on Kelleher here against Journey Newson?
That little pause before you said Petrie, I swear a Billy was coming down the pipe right there. I thought a Billy was coming. I love it. I don't care. I told my mom that. She goes, what? She's like, I knew a Billy growing up. He was a hillbilly. I'm like, Mom, don't worry about it. It's okay. Listen, Boone Kelleher, I like Boone Kelleher. He had a nice little run during COVID, right? Popping up to 45, getting fights, just staying active, which I like about him. You know, he's 35, 36 years old right now. The keys are the victory here are easy. Journey Newsom's got some pop in his hands, but he got taken down 6 times by Sergey Morozov. That's the key here. Kelleher is a good boxer, but he needs to mix it up really well. He's got a good guillotine when someone shoots on him. I would like to see him take down Journey here. Journey try to work to his feet, and he jumps a gilly there because it's a really good choke he's got there. I think he's better everywhere. Speed and grappling. I like Kelleher here. This could be an extra unit play for your boy. I'm not going to touch it because Journey Newsom does have some bombs in his hands, but I think Kelleher should get a finish. If he's motivated, he goes out there and gets a finish and mixes everything up, but I like Kelleher here. Yeah.
Brian Kelleher minus 180. Journey Newson, you mentioned the December loss to Sergey Morozov. Somewhat of a mixed bag for Journey Newson, who's fought 5 times in the UFC. Ken-Flo, your thoughts on him here against Brian Boom Kelleher?
Yeah, and Newson has been a little inconsistent, right? He is a very good striker, needs to be respected there, absolutely capable of winning this fight if they stay on the feet. But I think Kelleher can hang with him on the feet. But again, the path to victory is very simple here. Take him down, put him on his back, look to control him, set up a submission. I like Kelleher. I think he's got more ways to win.
And a reminder, you guys do not have to pick every fight. The only one you have to pick is the main event. You can abstain on one. Marcos Rogerio de Lima in the heavyweight division, a minus 150 favorite here against Waldo Cortez Acosta, who is plus 130. They call him Salsa Boy out of the Dominican Republic, fights out of Phoenix, Arizona, fought twice in a span of 4 weeks in the UFC. last autumn, and that sort of gave him some traction with fans, made the quick turn, was successful in doing so, won both fights by unanimous decision, and now, Bri, he draws the UFC-tested Paysow. Which way you going here with the big boys?
De Lima's got sledgehammer, bro. Sledgy's in those hands. I mean, he made Ben Rothwell do the chicken dance. That's not hard to do. The big thing with him, though, is his cardio's really lacked in previous fights. I feel like he's cleaned that up. He's 37, which we all know is 23 in the heavyweight division. It's a good number. And he's cleaning up a little bit, and he does have some ground game here. I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to take Acosta down. Acosta, this dude, it was a former pitcher, I believe, and he throws his right hand like a pitcher. I mean, it's just all power, but he's athletic. He moves really well. I like what I see in him. I do really like what I see in him. He's confident. Want to step on the gas a little more, want to have a little bit more volume. I think when he fights De Lima here, I think that's what's going to be. You got to be careful because De Lima's got those sledgies, but you throw a little bit more volume in there. You put some pieces on him. You're more athletic. You move. Don't move straight back. Move side to side. I like Costa here as an underdog play. Let me get the big boy here at the dog shot.
All right. Cortez Acosta plus 130 for Brian Petrie. Ken-Flo, you and I called a handful of Paysow's early UFC appearances, 15 of them now for Marcos Rogerio de Lima between a couple divisions. UFC career dates to 2014. 9 UFC wins, not too bad. 3 off of Ken-Flo's 12 if you're keeping score at home. And he submitted Andrei Arlovsky his last time out. Your thoughts on Paysow here, slightly favored against Waldo Cortez Acosta?
These are always tough. These heavyweights that, a lot of times will just fight any strategy out there and just start throwing down. So I totally see why Brian is going with Cortez Acosta. I could see him winning this fight. And there's times where I look at Rogerio de Lima and I'm like, man, he looks fantastic. And other times, even within the fight, where I'm like, what is he doing? Why is he taking this approach? And he does, he can't have a tendency of getting tired. But I don't know. I think I've seen a better output from him. I've seen better performances. There's a little bit better as far as like his skills are improving a little bit. So I'm going to go with Paysow. I like Rogerio de Lima here, but not a strong conviction.
All right, 3 picks to go, gentlemen. We get to a featured bout of middleweight Rodolfo Vieira, minus 275, against Cody Brundage, who comes back plus 230. Brundage out of Factory X, making his 5th UFC start. Got knocked out by Michal Olaksiejczuk last time out. On the other side, you guys know Vieira, known quantity, world-class jiu-jitsu player, 3-2 in the UFC thus far. BP, who do you have here at $185?
So on my podcast, I do this soundbite. It's from Sling Blade when the lawnmower doesn't work. He goes, "Ain't no gas in it." These fighters, this is an ain't no gas in it fight. Both these guys fade, right? Cody Brundage comes out, does like with 3 takedowns over Olaksiejczuk, gasses, gets finished, right? Before that, we all had the ticket of him knocking out Tristan Gore. We all were carrying that ticket in our back pocket. And before that, the Lugulabula fight, he was getting smoked and came back and won. Kenny loves how I pronounce that name. He just laughed right in my face on that one. But Rodolfo Vieira, he fought Chris Curtis. He looked good. He got embarrassed a little bit by the Fluffy Hernandez, had him down, have everything, but he looked like he muscled everything, gassed out. Fluffy's legit, dude. Rebounded with Dustin Stolfoots, got a submission, but then fought Chris Curtis where he went for way too many takedowns, but he landed 88 strikes. He looked good. Cardio, went the full 3 rounds, took some shots of Chris. Cody, that's all he wants to do is take you down. I don't know in a world why he would want to take Vieira down here. And I think if Vieira could stand with Chris and not get put out, I don't think Cody's going to have that. Plus the gas tank issue. I like that he's training with Dustin Jacoby. I like that he's in Factory X over there in Colorado. Cardio should be good. But I like Vieira here. I think the only way to touch this fight, well, I know we're picking money line, so give me Vieira. But I think Vieira by sub or Cody by decision are what you're going to look at when you go to the window. But give me Vieira.
Our audio engineer, Will Berger's probably salivating when he heard you pronounce Lungi Ambula. Would you like to give that another go? Our producer, Cody Mero, would like you to. No, okay.
Okay,
right.
okay. Dolce?
He tapped out.
Hold on, I'll do it.
Okay, there you go.
Dolce Lungulabula. I mean, that's about as good as it gets right there for you.
Julia Gulia?
Yeah.
Ken-Flo, Kenny, you are going to lead us on the main event. For now, though, Rodolfo Vieira, minus 275. Cody Brundage, plus 230. Which way you go?
Yeah, I think Brian has it right here. I'm going with Rodolfo Vieira as well. The problem has been that transition of coming from sport jiu-jitsu over to mixed martial arts. Rodolfo Vieira has legendary statistics and championships coming from jiu-jitsu. The problem is sometimes his style hasn't transitioned well to mixed martial arts. Also, his ability to go from striking into the takedown, of putting it all together, it's choppy. Maybe it's better this time around. I expect it to be, but he's still very susceptible on the feet. And I think he's got a good dance partner here, though. Cody does a lot of his best work on the ground. Rodolfo Vieira, I think, will be a little bit sharper and way more dangerous there. So I'm going to go with Vieira as well.
All right, that brings us to the co-main event. Get out your pronunciation guides, folks. Caio Bohalio, minus 300 versus Michal Olaksiejczuk, plus 250. And Olaksiejczuk on paper, very challenging to pronounce, but at this stage of his UFC career, as he makes his 11th UFC appearance, I've probably said his name, including this podcast, upwards of 200 times. And he seemingly, as a fighter, has found his traction here at 20 years of age, Bri. 4-1 combined in 2021 and 2022. On the other side, though, Bohalio, a lot of people see great things in his future, right? 3-1 favorite, sponsored by Howlerhead, 3-0 in the UFC. He's won 10 in a row, 12-0 with a no contest spanning his last 13. What do you have for us on Caio Bohalio and Michal Olaksiejczuk?
Yeah, this is a fight where I would I hate the line placement, right? I think Olaksiejczuk deserves a little more respect here. I think his, 205, he had no business being at 205. Logistically, this guy could be 170 if we're really putting our eggs in the basket here. Not a big dude, but big power. Doesn't matter. He'll knock dudes out of 205. Doesn't matter. Problem is his grappling, right? His grappling has gotten him some issues. Like Cody, his last time out, Cody Brundage took him out 3 times. He got up all 3 times and knocked him out. I don't know if that's going to be the case here with Bohalio. The Brazilian names get me every time. Either way, the fight nerd, the guy who claims himself fight nerd with a throat tattoo and a good looking dude, the fight nerd here, he doesn't throw a lot of volume. He gets you down. He keeps you down. He's not really in a place in his MMA career yet where he finishes a lot of people. Olaksiejczuk, I think, as much as I want to take the dog shot, I think he's going to have trouble with the grappling. He's got some great body shots. I know Chris Curtis has called out 2 people his entire UFC career. It's Michel Olaksiejczuk and Drexus du Plessis. So hopefully Olaksiejczuk can fight Chris Curtis, because that is an amazing fight, because they both will stand up and bang. But I'm going to take the fight nerd Bohalio here. I'm not going to pronounce it again. Not going to do it again. But give me that. I hate it. I hate taking it, but I got to take it.
And just put this in your back pocket. If you see 2 R's together in a Brazilian name that's pronounced with Brazilian Portuguese, the 2 R's become an H. Bohalio, right?
I tell you, I have a hard time spelling Brazilian names too. There's so many I's where I don't think they need to be. I don't know. I'm a mess all around the place.
And I did notice you dropped a Dracus du Plessis in there. Ken-Flo, how about all these fight announcements coming down the pike? Robert Whittaker, Dracus du Plessis at UFC 290, right? Unbelievable.
Nuts.
Ken-Flo, Caio Bohalio is minus 300. Olaksiejczuk about plus 250 right now on DraftKings Sportsbook. Your thoughts?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Brian, I love how musical you get when you say a Brazilian name.
I have to sing it. Yeah, I got to sing it.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. So I like Bohalio here. I think that his ability to put it all together, talk about a contrast between him and Rodolfo Vieira, does not have the pedigree and accomplishments that Rodolfo Vieira has coming from the sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But, man, he knows how to put it together, and he's a smart competitor. He knows what he needs to do to win rounds for the most part, and I think he'll find a way to utilize his striking. His striking is good enough to be a threat to at least set up those takedowns properly, enter safely, and put Olaksiejczuk, is that how you're saying it? Olaksiejczuk on the mat and control him and maybe even take him out. Not necessarily known. He's more known for his control than he is for his submissions, but against Olaksiejczuk, I do think he has the skills to submit him. Now, the Polish Olaksiejczuk is very dangerous on the feet, man. I love his striking. He knows how to slip and rip and attack the body, so you got to watch out for those punches and bunches. But I like Bohalio here. I trust in his tactics and his strategy, so much so that I want to put 3 units. Count them. 3. 1, 2, 3 on Bohalio. Let's go.
So that is a $900 wager, 900 American dollars on Caio Bohalio, who was previously featured on the Pronunciation of the Week here on the Anik and Florian podcast. We haven't gone to that segment a whole lot because, well, for one, our producer's pretty good with the names, and secondly, there just have not been a whole lot of challenging names over the last 4 or 5 shows, but we do have the Bohalio file, so let's let Petrie hear Caio, if you'd be so kind, Cody.
Caio Bohalio. Caio The Natural Bohalio.
It's a pretty cool fight name. All right, main event, Rick minus 130, Song Yadong plus 110. Song is ranked 8, Simone is 10. Kenny, you made a prediction on this fight last week. It was elevated now to a 5-round main event. I'm not sure if that changes anything, but most people have said Ricky Simone has a great style for 25 minutes. Your thoughts on Simone, slightly favored here in the now main event against China's Song Yadong?
Yeah, and I believe I picked Simone, right? And the last one. I've been thinking about this fight a lot, and I'm definitely not as confident in Ricky Simone here in this fight. I do think he does have a good style for 25 minutes. He's a goer, man. He's got an excellent gas tank. I think he's going to push the pace against Song Yadong, and I do think he's got the style to present a lot of problems for Yadong. But, Yadong's a beast, man. I mean, his striking, I think, is very underrated. He's very good. He's been really working hard on his takedown defense. I do think that's where he's going to be most susceptible in this fight. I think Ricky will be able to push the pace. But as I thought more and more about this fight, I do think Song Yadong is a very interesting underdog bet. Am I going to go that way? No. I do like Ricky Simone here. I think his grappling, he's going to have to lean on his grappling big time. He's going to have to be very careful on the feet, especially in the boxing range. But I think Ricky can get it done here. So this would be a big win for him. I think very highly of Song Yadong's skills, but let's go Ricky Simone. I'm going to stick with it.
All right, Ricky Simone, minus 130 on DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm just trying to get the most up-to-the-minute betting line for you right now. Simone down to minus 125. Song Yadong plus 105. That is the line we will go with. So the price getting a little bit shorter for Ken-Flo there. Brian Petrie, close it out.
Yes.
Who do you like in the main event?
Well, this rarely happens. There's a fighter's name I can pronounce. Song Yadong crushed it. And then Kenny and I disagree. I the week longer, and now that it's 5 rounds, I'm all in on Ricky Simone. This guy, all he's done his last 4 fights, 3 of the 4 he's finished. And they're studs that he's finishing. He's putting punches together. He's mixing everything up. This guy debuted against Marab, right? And had that weird win, but still was a close fight until the end. Debuted against him. I mean, that's nuts. This guy, one really bad loss with Faber. I know Rob Font's a stud, so that's not a bad loss. But this guy he's got it. I love everything. I think him and his team were high-fiving because they got a little bit extra money, I'm imagining, and now it's 5 rounds. They're like, yeah, we're 5-round fighters. I love this kid. And, again, Song Yadong's great. I don't want to not disrespect him by not talking about him. He's great. Look good against Sandhagen. Takedown offense was on point against Sandhagen. But I think Simone's just a different beast. And for 5 rounds, I really hope he doesn't get too hand happy like what we saw Curtis Blades. Like, hey, I can strike with anybody. Let me not know. I think he's going to know how good he is. I mean, the Jack Shore was just a chef's kiss. Take him down, submit him. That's a beautiful performance. So not only am I taking Ricky Simone, I'm more confident. I'm disagreeing with Ken-Flo, even though he is on the Simone side. I'm going to go ahead and nuts on the table. 5 unis. Johnny called it. I went 1 or 2 unis last week. Let's go 5. It, let's go. And that's a real life bet too. People think that I bet all the picks in real life. So they'll tweet me like, man, you're way off on that. You're probably broke. I'm like, yeah, but I didn't really bet that in the show. This is going to be a 5-unit bet for me after this last weekend I had.
Nice,
I'm not confident Ricky Simone.
I love it. And there probably should be some sort of disclaimer that I write just concisely at the beginning of the main event challenge, just so people understand exactly what we are doing here. But yes, chips all in. Brian Petrie is on Ricky Simone, minus 125, 5 units this weekend in the main event against Song Yadong. If you want more from Brian Petrie and you want to hear about sledgies and gillies and everything else, MMA Takes podcast, get it in your life and on social media at Brian Petrie MMA. Brother, we will talk to you next week. It is a pay-per-view. We know you will have done your homework. We'll see you for 288, brother. Thank you, man.
I'll see you, boys.
There he is. Brian Petrie with us for the main event challenge here on the Anik and Florian podcast presented by DraftKings.